Hi, welcome back to Tech Career Japan. I'm Aki, HR from Shift, and today we have guests from Wahl+Case. And Del, could you explain yourself?
Hello, my name is Delano Stark. Many people call me Del. I'm a consultant here at Wahl+Case, and today we're going to be talking about product managers in Japan.
So, what is product managers and what's their role in Japan, especially?
So yeah, product manager probably depends a lot depending on the company that you're working for. Different companies have a different idea of what a product manager is, but essentially what you are is kind of a bridge between the engineering side, the technical teams, and also the business side, talking to various different stakeholders, advancing the development of a product. And so different companies, if they have different products, they might assign different product managers for those products. Depends on what the product is as well. If it's like a digital product, if it's more of like a hardware related product, or maybe a non kind of tech related product. So variety of duties that include, I guess, communication, facilitation of, the product development lifecycle, basically from start to finish, making sure that it's always up to date, all the communication between the engineering side and business side, all the requirements are gathered, ensuring that, market research is done. Yeah, these types of things, basically.
Interesting. Like you already kind of mentioned, but what's their most of key responsibilities?
Key responsibility is probably just to ensure that the product itself is a success. And so it's a very general term, but I guess to basically be a line of communication between the development side and the business side, and sort of kind of make sure everything is flowing smoothly.
Okay. So, what would you say about their, essential skills for their, like success as a product managers?
I guess it would be, communication, stakeholder management, being able to negotiate. If this side wants this thing and this side can't provide that, you need to be kind of the middleman in between, kind of allowing both people to see the other side. I guess patience as well. Like probably in Japan, there's a lot more consensus on like, what is going to be moved forward, and so you can't just have like one idea and move forward with it. You basically need to kind of get all parties on board and have that negotiation ability to be able to get the other side to see where the other side is coming from. And so, detail-oriented, probably, at least in Japan, having the ability to speak Japanese, because if you're speaking to different, stakeholders or business side teams that need to communicate, understanding requirements and things like that.
Are there any like specific certification or a qualification for product managers, like especially in Japan? Like,
Yeah, so there's not like a bachelor's of science in product management or even bachelor's of arts or really kind of a certification like that. I guess they might have some small like product schools that you could probably attend. I guess I'm not too sure about that, but it's mainly, I think, people coming from like either an engineering background or at least they understand, what developers are talking about. As far as like a qualification or certification, it would probably be advantageous to maybe have like a PMP, like a project management kind of background certification, so you can understand a little bit more about that side. I guess in Japan it might be helpful to have like a JLPT, N2 or N1 if you're not a native Japanese speaker. Maybe an MBA just to be on the business side of things. It's not like a requirement. It's not like any of these are like necessary to have, but if you do have them, it probably bolsters your ability to get hired, more or less.
so, how can someone start their career as a product manager?
Getting a strong understanding of just the tech side. If they can either become a developer themselves or like understand how to code. If anything, just like learning how to read code and understanding what is some of the dialogue and technical terminology that the engineering teams are using, development process, I guess just networking within the tech community as well. There is a great organization called like Product Tank Tokyo. You guys, a lot of product managers there, and they're happy to network. And I think, like once a month, they usually have kind of events and networking for either product managers or people that are looking to get into product management.
Interesting. So, what's their potential career growth for product managers in Japan? Any idea?
Yeah, so I guess there's a couple career trajectories that you could consider. If you're coming in starting as like a junior product manager, you can obviously go into like a senior product manager or like a manager of product managers, like a product director. It could be chief product officer, like head of product, or essentially these types of titles. And beyond that, getting more into like the business side of things, you could even, I guess, be like a CEO of a company or something later on in your career. You probably try to think of like a product manager as like a mini CEO of that specific product. So whatever the company is working on, and if they have like any specific product, it's like this person, the product manager, is overseeing that specific product, making sure it gets done. So it's kind of like a mini CEO in that regard. But yeah.
Okay, cool. So what types of project like are they working on like normally as a product manager in Japan?
Yeah, so I guess depends on the company and the industry as well, but it could be mobile or web application development. It could be like IoT hardware products. It could be enterprise software solutions, any kind of like digital transformation initiatives. I guess consumer electronics, AI, machine learning types of things. So it really depends on the company itself, I would say.
Okay. So I think it depends on the company or like role, but like what's the typical salary range for product managers?
Sure. So junior or kind of entry-level product managers, I would say anywhere maybe 5 to 7 million annually. Getting into kind of like mid-level could be like 8 million to 12 million yen. More senior level positions, probably maybe 12 to 16, 17, somewhere in that range. Anything beyond that is looking into more kind of like executive, like management level types of roles. So something kind of in that range, yeah.
Cool. So you mentioned a lot about Japanese language skill. So how important is it for product managers?
I'd say it's very important. There's, of course, probably select companies that maybe you don't need to have Japanese, but for most companies, I'd say it's probably a requirement to speak Japanese, because you need to talk to the business side of teams, which are often operating only on a Japanese basis. You need to talk to different stakeholders and kind of really understand what are their requirements that they're coming from. Just understanding the market as well, like what is your product impact in the industry that you're involved with, and so doing like research and analysis on different trends. If you can't really understand Japanese language that much, it's probably put a severe, it's much more difficult, more or less.
So do you think like there's any good chance for non-Japanese speaking product managers?
So those opportunities exist, although I'd say it's a little more rare. So there's a couple companies that I know that do have like kind of non-Japanese speaking product manager positions, but the bulk of the companies, most of the clients that I see, like at minimum they need a JLPT N2 of like business level Japanese, at least to want to get through the interview process, but then also to sort of just understand the business side of things. So it exists, but it's much more common for them to be requiring Japanese.
Interesting. Okay. So what's difficulties those product managers is facing in Japan?
Yeah, I mean, many. Like common challenges just could be adapting to like a lengthy decision-making process, managing multiple stakeholders. It could be meeting the high quality standards within Japan, balancing innovation tradition, navigating cultural differeces, maintaining as well like work-life balance. So it could be some common hurdles to go over. I had heard from one person as well. I think like gathering requirements can be difficult in Japan versus other countries because I think you really need to like dig deep and you need to like penetrate and ask these questions, and it can sort of be uncomfortable if you're not used to navigating that sort of landscape, and especially I guess in Japanese it might be tough. I don't really speak business level Japanese, so I probably wouldn't be able to do that, but really deeply understanding what is the requirements from the user side, and not just being like, this is what you want, like, are you sure this is what you want? Because this is what is going to happen in the market, really getting them to understand that you want the best for them. And that can be tough to sort of knowing when to keep pushing and knowing when to pull back and be satisfied with an answer. So,
Is there any trend or changes in Japanese market, like which product managers should aware of?
well, I'd say just digital transformation on a whole. Like it seems to be a little bit behind other countries when it comes to like the overall digital transformation. It's definitely getting up to speed, but just the acceleration of digital transformation here in Japan. Also implementation of like artificial intelligence, automation, the adoption of these technologies. Also with Japan being very much like kind of aging population, so having like elderly friendly technology that maybe people that didn't grow up in a digital era would be able to understand and operate. That could be one consideration, as well as like mobile first development versus like having it geared towards like a PC or other hardware device, having it just be available on the phone is first. I mean, sustainability is a big one as well. Just is this going to be something that's long term, or if it wastes lots of resources? But probably those things, I would say. Yes.
So what's advice would you give to someone like looking for transitioning to product managers like, in this Japanese IT industry?
Okay. I mean, off the first one would just be to if you're not a native Japanese speaker, definitely invest in the language, the culture, the identity, understand the people that you're talking to and sort of how they're going to react to different proposals that you have. Building a strong network as well, like it's just kind of a given, I would say. Having patience, cultural sensitivity as well, because things might be a lot more fast-paced in other countries, but then in Japan it tends to be more of this collective whole of like, oh, we need to all be on the same page before we move forward. So definitely an understanding of that. I guess high quality standards as well. So keeping things at certain levels, just keeping that in mind.
Okay, thank you very much. I think that's all I wanted to ask. So thank you very much for your time and coming today.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Aki.